Hi guys. Okay, so I'm waiting for my notes to load right now, but I had the pleasure of meeting Elizabeth April for her Lionsgate event. This took place, when was this? This was this past Saturday on August 8th. It was actually really good, and I really had a fun time meeting her. It was great to be a part of a live podcast. It was actually really cool. And I got to meet her and I asked her a Q&A for my friend publicly, which is going to be in part 2 of Maverick's Manor podcast, Maverick Approach. And then I asked her like private questions as well in the meet and greet, and I got to take a photo with her and I had her sign my books. She was like, oh, I asked her if she could sign this. She was like, oh, these are already signed in the front. And I was like, no, these are ones that I've had for years. So she signed this one, You're Here for a Reason. So cute. That's for her first book, if you guys remember that. And then this, I finally finished reading. I read this in 2 days, her new book, Your Anxiety is Giving Me Anxiety. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give you guys a bullet point. This is her signing it. It's like 206 pages. That's the spine, that's the back. This is how the pages look. And it comes with like a 21-day workbook at the end. So hold on, let me put this book somewhere. Actually, I can just put it up here. So this is the book, and I'm going to be reading you the bullet point notes that I have from the book. Okay. These are all different bullet points, so it might be all over the place. Anxiety is inherently a safety mechanism. It's not trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you. However, when we react with fear, we reinforce the belief that we are unsafe, causing anxiety to escalate. Anxiety increases when we input more than we output. Why is my camera falling off? Sorry, guys. Is it slowly moving? Okay. Anxiety isn't the enemy, it's a signal. It's your system asking for your awareness. It isn't a malfunction, it's an alert system. By sitting with your unresolved emotions, you're essentially saying, I hear you and I'm ready to turn off the alarm before it needs to sound. If you are new to manifestation, know that something only gets manifested if you perceive yourself as already having it. Instead of seeing traffic as wasted time, you use it as an opportunity. Maybe you put on your favorite podcast or listen to a song that lifts your mood, or take the time to focus on something you want to manifest. This changes a moment of limitation into a moment of expansion. At first, it may be difficult to shift your state, especially when emotions like anger, sadness, or frustration are strong. But the more you practice switching your perspective, the easier it becomes to turn any situation into something that benefits you. Anxiety thrives on negative reinforcement. The more you feed it, the stronger it gets. When you constantly react to stress, you reinforce the belief that life is happening to you rather than for you. But by choosing to connect, disconnect, and then shift your perspective, you disrupt this cycle. Remember that every moment in life presents you with 3 options. Connect to it, disconnect from it, and or transmute it. At its core, transmutation is about mastering your own reality. It's a skill that transforms not only your anxiety, but your entire life. When you stop letting external events dictate your emotions, you become truly free. Future anxiety happens because your brain can't pinpoint the source of the problem, so it makes up scenarios in an attempt to find solutions and keep you safe. If anxiety has a grip on you, chances are your relationship with trust has some cracks in it. The moment you remember your free will is always active, you reclaim your power. So I also have to mention, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more bullet points and then it's done. Something I have to mention is that I like that she really mentions that anxiety comes from either the past, the present, or the future. So the past is like trauma and like all kinds of other things that your subconscious holds onto, and there's a lot more that goes into it. You just have to read the book. And then the present moment would be like things like you're not being able to sit still, you're not being able to fully relax into the present moment for whatever reason that may be. And the future anxiety is more like your brain coming up with a million worst case scenarios, and then your mind trying to like prevent all those worst case scenarios from happening like all at the same time. So it's almost like you're unable to even live because every choice would have a negative effect. Like your subconscious would find a way for every choice to have like a negative effect. You know what I mean? So it's just like you're just stuck at home doing nothing, but also like going crazy at the same time because of your future anxiety. So you have to first figure out like which type of anxiety do you have? Is it anxiety from the past, the present, the future, or you might even have, I guess, subsets of like the past and the future, or the present and the past, or the present and the future. She doesn't really explain that, of people having multiples, but you can also have all three. But she is saying that most likely if you most likely have future anxiety, then you most likely have resolved trauma from the past. Does that make sense? It's just now pinpointed towards the future timeline instead of the past. Does that make sense? Okay. When we believe that everything in our life depends solely on our decisions, the pressure can feel overwhelming. On the other hand, if we believe that a higher power dictates our entire life, we feel powerless. The key is to integrate both free will and destiny into our lives. This helps us to understand that the big things are destined to happen, and that even when life moments are challenging, they are always aligned to our highest good and are there to help us grow. Destiny is the road, but free will is how you drive. At the end of the day, you're both the writer and the main character of your life story. Some plot points may already be written, but how the story unfolds is entirely up to you. Okay, sorry, someone came in. So the more we try to attach ourselves to an expected outcome, the more challenges around that outcome we experience. Anxiety at its core is about control, specifically the fear of losing control. When we're anxious, we're desperately trying to manage outcomes, predict the future, and protect ourselves from the unknown. We tell ourselves, if I can just figure everything out, I'll feel safe. But the truth is, we're never going to figure it all out. Life is inherently unpredictable. And in our attempts to micromanage the chaos, we only end up creating more anxiety for ourselves. The more we resist the flow of life, the more we end up manifesting the very things we're trying to avoid. Anxiety isn't just about the unknown, it's about believing that the unknown is dangerous. Trust doesn't mean you won't feel fear. Sorry, I'm gonna start it over. Trust doesn't mean that you won't feel fear. It means you won't let fear dictate your every move. If peace is what you seek, surrender is the doorway. And then it talks about how like surrender doesn't mean like you're giving up control. It means you're trusting yourself and the higher power to reiterate the fact that this whole time, all you had to do was trust. Anxiety was never meant to be feared or suppressed. It was meant to be understood. By learning to work with anxiety rather than against it, you step into a reality where you no longer feel controlled by your thoughts, but instead choose them with intention, and that is the ultimate shift. Your past anxiety is your teacher, guiding you toward deep healing. Your present anxiety is your compass, sharpening your intuition. And your future anxiety is your creative tool, showing you the power of your own mind to manifest anything you can imagine. So that's all the bullet points that I have, but it's so hot. What else was I gonna say? It kind of reminds me of that book that I read, My Friend Fear, where you use fear as your friend. So Elizabeth's approach is kind of like using anxiety as your friend. It's not something to be scared of or to run away from. It's something to be alerted to and something to be aware of. It's basically an alert system. But we react so negatively to it and we freak out over it because we don't know what to do when it happens. So our reaction to it makes it worse. And also when people try to ignore it, it makes it worse as well, and especially medication too. I agree with her viewpoint of it because when you really think about it, it is an alert system. And a lot of the times it's false alarms of things that we're just freaking out over that we shouldn't even be thinking about, to be honest. It's just our mind going on this constant loop, especially when bad things keep happening. The anxiety just gets worse because you keep expecting negative things to happen, but you're never going to break free from that loop if you keep your mind on that negative stuff, like duh. So I enjoy the book and I really recommend you read it. Even if you don't have anxiety, it's good to understand because a lot of people do have it. I don't have it, but I do feel like I have some aspect of future anxiety. And it's just interesting how this book and then the last one that I read, Safe to Receive, has very similar topics and like, what do you call it, like action points or like activities that you can do to like replacing a negative thought or slowing down and analyzing, like, is this really, like, what am I really freaking out over? Like, why is this freaking me out? Why is this making me react this way? You know, stop to think. And then also like the box breathing method, I really like that one, where you breathe in for 4 counts, you inhale for 4 counts, hold it in for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and then after you exhale, you hold for 4 more counts too. There was one that I learned in choir. It was like 4, breathe in for 4, hold in for 6, I think, and then you breathe out for 4. I don't know why I kind of prefer that one. I guess it depends on you, but that is the one that I had learned. I swear it was like 4-6-4, but apparently the box breathing is 4-4-4-4. And then you can also do, was it Elizabeth or was it, no, I think it was, yeah, it was Elizabeth and the other girl, Daughtry from the last book that I just read. They both say to change when you're like in panic mode or like when you're kind of getting in anxiety mode, do something completely different than you would not do normally. Like, I don't know, just like randomly start clapping or like randomly start doing jumping jacks or randomly start doing push-ups like out of nowhere, because it kind of tricks the nervous system in a way that your mind cannot focus on those 2 things at once. If you're freaking out over like how you're gonna get to work tomorrow, for example, right? Like you don't have a ride or whatever, and that thought is like making you freak out, then what you do is like do something spontaneous and random, because it tricks the brain into like, wait, I can't be worried about this, meanwhile also doing jumping jacks at the same time. So it's kind of like a really cool trick, which I do like that one. Or you can do what Daughtry says and also just switch it to a positive, because in reality, like, we're freaking out over these future scenarios and you have so much creative energy to freak out over the negative future scenarios. If it's so easy to do that, we can so easily flip it to be positive scenarios too. So instead of like freaking out that you're gonna get laid off or get hurt or something, think the opposite of that just as much as you're thinking of the negative, and you're probably going to create the positive to come because you're feeding it so much of your focus. That's probably the easiest tip that I would have for you. I know it's easier said than done, like, duh, that's the whole point of why everyone's suffering, because if it was that easy, then we would all just, oh no, the negative is more easier to believe that it's going to happen because you've already been on a streak of negative things happening. But no, like, the streak that's the most likely possible is the one that you believe in. So why not believe in the good? Just try to remember that whenever you're suffering. Try to know and realize and remember that you can create a positive streak, and know there is no, well, when is the, what's the saying? The shoe is gonna, what is the saying? Where like, I know the saying, but I can't think of it right now. We're like, oh, well, things are going so good for me, like something bad's gonna happen. Of course, something's bound to happen that's bad. Like, no, that's only because your nervous system is like trained to protect you and in survival mode. So it's trying to create and prepare already, or kind of prevent a cataclysmic future event that may not even happen. And Elizabeth April talks a lot about that she has a lot of that, and that it's very difficult for her to overcome that. So it's normal, it's human, don't worry about it, just do your best.